Today we're discussing a very charming topic, persuasion techniques, and we'll talk about how well done persuasion can lead to
Hi.
success. Hello, and what you must do and which rules you should stick to achieve the goal of persuasion. First of all, let's define that persuasion is not manipulation. Is it clear? That persuasion is not manipulation.
Yes, clear.
They're not the same things, actually. Manipulation is pressure through force to get someone to do something that is not in their own interest. And persuasion is the art of getting people to do things that are in their own best interest that also benefit you. I think it's understood, isn't it?
Yeah, this more.
Okay, let's talk about persuasion techniques themselves. First of all, use framing.
Hello.
Hello?
Does anybody hear me?
Yes, we can. Okay, the first persuasion techniques is framing, and let's talk about this. Framing. Using framing can help you to influence your opponent's thought. For example, you know the phrase, the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. That's how a pessimist would frame when he speaks about the glass and saying the glass is half empty. This is how a pessimist would frame the objective fact of a half a glass of water. Framing is simply a way to alter how we will sort, categorize, and associate, and ultimately give meaning to events, object, and behavior. And what you guys think about framing? The framing is how you see the situation. Please share your opinions about framing, about how to give the same situation the different meaning using different words. Like that, having a cell phone will keep me safe. And look at these two phrases. Having a cell phone will keep me safe, and having a cell phone will keep me out of trouble. What's different between these two phrases? Martin, please save this silence.
Me?
Yep.
I'm a little shy to speak because I know that it's recorded, but generally I think that one of the sentences is more positive. You have safe, and the second is the same meaning, but you mentioned trouble, so subconsciously you have trouble in your head, maybe this one.
Yes, actually these two phrases mean the same thing, but subconsciously, yeah, as you mentioned, safe is better than out of trouble, yeah? But actually these two phrases mean the same thing. But using different words creates different objective of these two phrases. And that's what called framing. Is it clear about framing? Let's talk about this. Actually, framing is frequently used by skillful politicians. For instance, politicians on both sides of the abortion debate cite their positions as pro-life or pro-choice. They avoid saying anti. They use pro. They do not use the word anti. Not to go this bad framing about the situation. Actually, framing is, as we discussed, the ability of causing the different objective on the situation using different words. Just look at the chat box and the private messages. Having a cell phone will keep me safe, and having a cell phone will keep me out of trouble. They mean the same, I'm sorry, but using different words. We got different views on this situation. Friends, why do you keep silence? Are you feeling shy now?
Yes.
Mike, please. I don't know what to do in this situation when everybody keeps silence.
I think everything is understood. That's why everybody is silent.
But it's not my lecture. Just to be understood and to follow the topic, I'd love to go some discussion about this. Okay, maybe the second technique will cause some discussion upon it. The second technique is using mirroring. I think its heading says for itself, because mirroring is the practice of mimicking the movements and body language of the person you're trying to persuade. By acting as a person listening, thus you create a sense of empathy. I just typed down the definition of mirroring in a chat box. You can mirror hand gestures, leaning forward or away, or various head and arm movements. We're all doing this subconsciously, and if you pay attention, you'll probably notice yourself doing it. And what you think, how to use mirroring to get a persuasion effect better. Yes, psychological technique, you're absolutely right, Andre. Absolutely right. And tell us, how can it help to persuade your opponent? Andre, please. Okay, anyone else?
I may try. I think that if we are mirroring someone, we are sending some signal subconsciously that we like this person, and the other person can notice these signals also subconsciously. And when someone likes us, it's easier for us to persuade this person.
Yes, you're quite right. Because as we created, we like someone who behaves like ourselves. Yeah?
Yes.
Who behaves like ourselves. Okay. Helena, maybe you will share your opinion upon mirroring. How can it help in persuasion? Okay.
May I? I think
please, Mike.
when we're mirroring someone, it's it's like we are like him. So it causes something like he may trust us. Like I am like you, so you can trust me, and it's a good technique for future manipulation.
Yes, absolutely, and that's great psychological technique. Actually, we don't notice it, and thus we don't use it so much times, and we miss our chances just to simply persuade our opponent. Well, any other opinions upon mirroring? Violet Team. Violet Team, maybe you? His nickname is Violet Team. Maybe you'll share your opinion? No? Milan, the last hope is upon you.
Yes, but I agree with you. I don't know what to add.
Thank you, Milan.
But I have a question. For example, what will happen in situation when other side know the same? technique.
And as Martin mentioned, can this mirroring be embarrassing?
Yes.
And why? And how to avoid this embarrassment?
To stop doing that.
No. If you stop doing that, it will cause more embarrassment of you.
Maybe to do it in a subtle way and maybe with some delay, 2 or 3 seconds, not instantly.
Because your opponent can consider you're mocking him, and this will cause distrust.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And the third one, the third technique is to promote scarcity. Do you know this word, scarcity? What does it mean?
No.
Yes.
Please, Martin. What is that?
I guess lack of something.
Lack of something. Yes. Scarcity is lack of something.
Shortage.
And ideas about how scarcity and promoting scarcity can help with persuasion effect. You can notice it in advertising. Because scarcity is frequently used by advertisers to make opportunities seem more appealing because they have limited availability. For example, this discount actually acts only through March 10th. No longer either. And when we see that this discount will be acting just until March 10, it's only 3 days left for us for this opportunity to get a discount. We'll go to the store and buy something with this discount. Because the assumption is that if a product or a discount is scarce, there must be a ton of demand for it. The scarcity causes demand. Have you come across with it, Martin and Milan?
Yes,
have you come across with a situation when you see that advertisement says that this product is scarce or this discount is very limited in time, and you will buy it? You're persuaded to buy it.
Yes, every time it's very often used, and I think it can be also, I think it can be also used in a relationship, in relation between people. You are not available all the time, so it's not used not only in business, but I think also in relation between people.
And exactly, how can it be used in relationships?
For example, some lady send you a text message, and you are playing hard to get role, so you don't text back instantly, but maybe you send message later.
And how can it help in persuasion? Actually,
it means that usually what we get very easily, we don't value it much, something like that.
Maybe you're quite right. Quite right.
It means you are not available 24/7.
And thus people will value more. Yes, that you can be. Yeah, you mean them, Martin?
Yes, but I think it may help, but for me it's kind of manipulation.
Okay. And the fourth technique is reciprocation. It's quite a difficult word for you, maybe. Reciprocation. I'll try to give you the proper definition of this word. Reciprocation. Or maybe any one of you knows what does reciprocation means. What does reciprocation mean? Any one of you?
I think, for example, if someone tells us some compliment to us,
Mm-hmm.
we tend to say compliment to this person as well.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is
That's kind
nice
of
to us,
reciprocation, yeah. Or telling a compliment, maybe, for example, giving us a favor, and we're giving this favor back. Yeah,
yes,
it's also reciprocation. The reciprocation is to reciprocate is to respond by making the favor or the compliment, and so on. And how can reciprocation help in persuasion? Milan. I'll repeat my question. How can giving a favor back or reciprocation help in persuasion of your opponent? If you don't know, say, I don't know. Just not to keep silence, actually, here.
Are you asking me? Sorry.
No.
You're asking all.
Not you exactly, but everyone here.
Okay, I just thought, I think that you said Milan or something like that.
I was saying that, but you didn't respond. Thus, I appeal to everyone here.
Milan was eating.
But you have to give me compliment to answer like this. To persuade me. I'm joking.
No, it will not be a reciprocation. It will be just a compliment for Milan.
Okay.
And when just to giving a favor back to me for my compliment, you will share your opinion. It will be a reciprocation. Nevertheless, Milan, I'm asking you about your opinion about reciprocation. How can it help in persuasion?
I think it can help a lot. For example, I know it works for me. I will rather buy, for example, if we talk in marketing, I will rather buy something from someone who will give me some compliments rather than from someone who will not say anything. You know?
Because actually reciprocation creates some kind of obligation for your opponent. If you tell him a compliment or giving him a favor,
yes,
it creates some kind of obligation. He thinks that given a compliment by you, he must give this compliment back or give this favor back to you.
But it sometimes, I think, it sometimes work opposite.
Works, actually.
Works, yes.
How can it work in the opposite way?
I mean, when you maybe, for example, for me, sometimes it works. I'm joking, but sometimes it works totally opposite. If someone try to persuade me a lot, you know, to give me compliment, I can notice it very easily, and then it will be totally opposite. My reaction will be opposite of his intention. You know,
your reaction for these compliments or favors can be very negative.
No. But not for compliments. Compliments are good, but I think that something is behind that compliments. You know, when someone wants to sell you something, you know, and then try to persuade you on that way with compliments to keep you close to him. For me, it works totally opposite. You know, I will refuse that person that stuff that he has to offer, for example.
For my opinion, when a salesman and anyone else gives you some compliments or giving you a favor, I think it causes some kind of trust, maybe. You can trust this person. And as for you, as I consider, it can cause negative emotions.
Then I think that Milan means that if somebody's pushing too much, so is saying
Yes, I
too
got
much.
this actually, but where's the border? Where there's limitation about between pushing not too much or so
For
much?
example, for me, if somebody's saying compliment, it's something superficial, something shallow. It's not true. It's not honest. Something like that. For example, you know that it's just fake.
And when your opponent gives you some favor, some kind of favor, for example, when you owe your lawn mower for your neighbor, it's kind of good gesture.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing behind it. You just lend your lawn mower to a neighbor. It's kind of favor. Can it cause negative reaction? I think not.
But I think this is a different situation because with my neighbor I have some relation, right? But especially in business, I think that if we show some interest, if we say some compliment, it should be honest, because otherwise your counterpart can notice that and it will not work, right? Usually with your business partner you don't have any relationship, just business relationship. It's not the same situation like with your neighbor or with family, with your friends. This is what I mean.
And to sum up your words, you consider you must be very careful with your compliments, especially in business.
Yes.
Especially first of all, we should be honest. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't say compliments or show some interest about other person, but it should be honest, not something fake, something superficial.
Because dishonest compliments can cause negative subconscious reaction.
Exactly.
But generally, when someone does something for us, we feel compelled to return the favor.
Yes, of course.
So if you want someone to do something nice for you, why not do something nice for them first?
In the right way.
Yeah, in the right way, not to push so far. The next persuasion technique is about your personal skills. It's keeping a fluid speech. Why keeping a fluid speech is very essential in persuasion? I think it's obvious, but nevertheless, let's talk about it. Is fluid and clear and proper speech so important in general communication, Martin?
I think
I'm asking you because everyone else is keeping silence. But for you, for everyone, I'm saying it's not a lesson. It's not an English lesson where I give you some marks. It's just a familiar conversation. Let's share our opinions.
May I say something instead of Martin? Sorry.
Yeah, Martin, please. Would you give Melanie a word?
Or maybe he can. I will do a second. Okay, you can start first. No problem.
No. Go on.
I think I will forgot what I have to say.
No. Go on, Milan.
Not to forget, just write it down, Milan.
yes, I can.
Be like an El Granny. Just not to forget whether. Okay.
I'm tired a little bit because of that. I think, for example, for me also is much more important and not fluid speech. Is it the same like fluent or is it something else?
No, fluent speech is when you speak fluently, you speak very excessively. You speak and speak and speak. It's a fluent speech, just like Acer speaks. But that's not a proper speech, because proper speech or fluid speech, as I typed down in the chat box, I will now define it. When we talk, we often use little interjections and hesitant phrases such as I mean, like Acer does, yeah. And of course, there is the word like, just kind of, kinda. These words are bad. And when you don't use them, that's what is called fluid speech. Proper speech. Fluid means proper, and fluent means excessive speech. When I speak without a stop. Is the difference clear?
Yes.
And fluent speech and the proper speech without any excessive interjections or something else that wastes your speech. And when you keep your speech fluid, this conversation will have the unintended effect of making us seem more confident and sure of ourselves, isn't it?
Yes.
And thus more persuasive. Or maybe you have another opinion upon it.
But I don't know. It depends on area where is important this kind. For example, for me, it's much more important what is in that speech. You know.
Milan, but yes,
Uh-huh.
it's about subconscious, subconsciousness.
Yes. When we're talking about persuasion, the subconsciousness takes great place. And Milan, just imagine two guys. The first one talks like, I don't know, and otherwise he didn't use these words. I think, as for me, he would have been more sure and more confident. And the second guy speaks properly without these interjections, but they are talking about the same things. But would you select as your business partner or someone else? I think you've selected the second guy who doesn't use any interjections.
It may be, but not always. For example, why is it if, for example, I would like to choose someone who maybe think about that more, who speak, for example, without that words, he's very more prepared. You know, It depends. But generally, I think that majority of people will choose guy without this.
Actually, I think that proper speech doesn't say about preparation for the topic you're talking about with your opponent, but it says about his personal vocabulary. And this will be the difference between these two guys. Because if you have such poor vocabulary, you will try to replace some words with these interjections, like I mean, or kind of, you know?
Are you talking about me, man?
No.
No.
No, you're here, I assume.
No, I'm not. It's just your impression.
Okay, so we're talking about fluid speech, and fluid speech is not the same thing as fluent speech. Because fluent speech is very excessive speech when you speak without a stop. And fluid speech, as I typed in the chat box, fluid speech means the proper speech without any interjections and something else that wastes your speech. And as we're talking about persuasion techniques, Asu, please tell us, what do you think, how fluid speech, proper speech, can help you to persuade your opponent?
Oh my God, it's a very hard question for me, man. Why don't you choose another person? No, I have just arrived here, and you make this question to me right off the bat.
Because we're already talking about it. Martin and Milan has already shared their opinions upon this problem, and that's your turn, Asu, please. Because anyone else keeps silence. I don't know why. Because they're feeling shy, maybe.
Yeah, then I feel shy either, you know. If any of you would like to answer this question to me, you know, I'll give you a box of chocolates, please.
Please don't tell me you're feeling shy, Asu, please answer my question.
I need to hear any opinion, you know, in order to base my opinion on the other person's opinion.
You want my opinion?
But it should be independent.
No, but I'm not independent. So tell me your opinion, Danny, and then I will say what I
Milan,
think.
we are talking about reciprocation again. He wants my opinion to share his own. First, he's considering about giving a favor. Okay, I see my opinion is the one who has the proper speech will persuade his opponent better because you will subconsciously trust the one whose speech is very proper without any interjections like because he will seem more sure and more confident, and thus you will trust him more. And
Like politicians, right?
politicians actually they love to use interjections, and that's why a politician's speech is very unclear so many times I can see, because they do not know the answer actually and exactly, and they are trying to replace the clear and clarified answer with these interjections to cause delusion. And what do you think, Asu?
I agree with you. In everything you said, I agree.
Don't you have your own opinion?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that I agree with you.
You're kind of useless. Martin, do you have your own opinion? Or maybe anyone else can share and want to share it. Layla Kunstler, maybe you will share your opinion about fluid speech. Like, what's wrong with them today? Those previous conversations were great, and today is something wrong. Even Asu keeping silence.
Oh my god. Because I'm shy, you know. You're recording that, you know, and I don't like.
And what's wrong with
hearing
this
my own-
record?
Because you know it makes it something like really serious, you know. Like people are going to watch you on YouTube and see the mistakes you make when you speak. It's terrifying. But anyway, you were talking about persuasion, right? In general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you divide this topic into subtopics about the techniques that
Yes.
will help you to make yourself, I mean, to make people trust you, believe you, or to bring people around, something like that?
Actually, we're already talking about persuasion techniques, and we have discussed 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But everyone keeps silence.
I think, for example, you have a good power of persuasion.
Me? You mean me?
Yes.
And?
Because, you know, every time you expose your opinion, I want to believe you. You know, in spite of, you know, deep down, you know, deep down I don't want that, but I ended up believing you because you have a good power of persuasion. You persuade.
Nevertheless, thank you, but nevertheless, I cannot persuade these guys to share their opinions. Even with my power of persuasion, I cannot do this.
Yes, but maybe you can be more assertive. You know, you could say names like Hazin. Hazin has a good opinion about that.
Yeah, please assist me. Okay, assist me. Hazim, are you here? He says no in the chat box. Okay, for example, is someone from Russia here? It's from Russia. No one? No one is from Russia. As here, Hazim says that he doesn't have an opinion. And I'm told that someone's mic is broken. Okay, finish with fluid speech and let's follow the topic. The next technique is asking yes questions. Asking yes questions. Actually begin the conversation with questions that generate a yes response. For example, nice day today, isn't it? Or your wife looks great, doesn't she? Or you're looking for a great deal in a car, aren't you? These questions cause yes response, and once you get someone saying yes, it's easy to get them to continue up to and including yes, I'll buy it, or yes, I'll do it. The best counter to this is to make non-committal answers, but make sure your wife knows why you don't think she looks all that nice today. It's kind of psychological matter. And I see what you think about yes questions. How can they help in persuasion? I see, are you muted? Okay, Martin.
Yes, it's one of the techniques and it works, but I guess the point is to get few yes questions about innocent yes answers about innocent questions, right? And then I can ask something relevant to sell something, right?
Mhm.
But for me, it's also kind of manipulation, and I think it's very easy to notice that if the salesperson is not well trained.
And to sum up, your opinion?
To sum up, for me, it's very irritating if somebody is trying to do that.
And you'd better not try this, not use this.
Then in my personal opinion is that the best persuasive technique is to be honest.
And you're stuck to this, that being honest is the key of everything.
Of course.
Being honest, I think we're not talking about being honest here, because I think it's understood when you, but actually being the fully honest cannot lead you to persuasion in all the times, because sometimes you have to lie a bit, just a bit.
Okay.
And you must be careful not to push too far.
Yes, but it's maybe we have different view about definition of motivation or persuading people, because you mentioned at the beginning that the difference between manipulation and motivation is maybe I would say it in different way. I think that also some of these techniques are manipulative for me. So I have a different view about it. For example, that kind of copying and mirroring and leading, I think it's kind of manipulation. It can be used in positive way, but it's still manipulation.
But actually, as my definition of the manipulation is the enforcement. And when we're talking about subconscious matters, I think that it's not a manipulation, because manipulation is when you're forced, you're pressed to do something.
Yes, but the problem, it's about definition of manipulation, but the problem of these techniques is that your real interest is hidden, right? You are not showing the real interest to the other person. It means that if it is good for this person, I can say it very openly. I don't have to use these tricks about subconsciousness, like mirroring. But I have just different opinion about it. It's okay.
But do you know why you have to use these subconscious tricks? Because in persuasion is the art of getting people to do things that are in their own interest, and they must also benefit you.
Okay, I will.
It's very tricky. It's very tricky to get the interest same.
Okay, then I can give you an example. Let's say that I'm a sales manager. I'm selling cars, and you want to buy a car. And I know some of these, let's say, dirty tricks about some consciousness. So I will persuade you to buy a more expensive car. Is it in your interest? I don't think so, because I will get more money from my boss, right? It's in my interest.
Maybe you, with your tricks as a salesman, you can persuade your client to buy the more expensive car, and persuade him that the more expensive car, the more expensive automobile, will be better for him, for his interest, for that he wants from his car to get. You understand me, yeah?
Yes.
And that's kind of tricky question, because it's a very psychological matter. I'm sorry. Do you think that?
I think that we are not the same. I mean, people have different moral principles, so it's okay that we have different views.
We can be led to the definition of the interest. What is interest itself? Because we're talking about interest, and what is interest itself?
Yes, but I mean, by using these techniques, we are, first of all, we are following our interest, not the interest of our partner.
Yes, I think that this is it. But with these subconscious tricks, with these persuasion tricks, we must show our opponent that we're following his interest firstly. And if we are successful in showing him that we can help him, we can follow his interest, his own interest, thus he trusts us, and thus in our own interest, in our own benefit. Am I clear?
Yes, I understand what you mean.
And this is my opinion. You can agree with it, and you can not agree. It's your life, your choice, as been said.
Yes, I would say that I understand your view.
But nevertheless, you're stuck to your own opinion.
Yes.
And that's right, because you're not willingness sheep that goes with this flock. Yeah.
Of course.
You have your own opinion. And that's great. It's great not to lose your opinion, but it's another topic. We're not talking about this. And the last technique, I'd love to hear your opinion about this, is to break the touch barrier. And in this technique, being careful is the very essential. Because whether you're closing a deal or asking someone on a date, touching them in a subtle and appropriate way, I repeat, can improve your chances by subconsciously activating the human desire to bond. And how to be careful when you break the touch barrier. It's a very important question, because if you do this in an appropriate way, you can get very negative reaction, because breaking the touch barrier is going into the personal, private zone of the human, and it's very, very dangerous. And what you think about breaking the touch barrier? The one under the nickname ABC says that as it thinks, or she, I don't know, it can be used only on the dates and not on business meetings. Actually, they're quite right.
I think it can be used also on business meeting, for example, to intimidate.
Do you? Please clarify your position.
To intimidate your opponent, for example. I think it's commonly used when you invade other personal space, or
yes, a private zone, as I said. You're invading the private zone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To show that you have a higher position, to have better position at negotiation. I think it's commonly used, but it's not very polite way how to communicate.
You think that it's implied?
Of course, it's aggressive technique to invade someone's private zone.
And you consider that breaking the touch barrier breaks the rules of the etiquette.
Of course.
And do you consider shaking a hand is breaking the touch barrier?
Oh.
Kind of tricky question, ain't it?
Yes, can be. It depends. It depends about your style. For example, I don't know how to explain in English, but there are a lot of techniques how to shake the hand. You can show very high status by different style of shaking hand, right? For example, you grab the hand of your partner and you pull it to your body to show some some strength, or how you turn your hand. There are a lot of types of shaking hands.
And the best one is, what you think about it? The best way to shake your opponent's hand is
the sincere way, normal strength, look into eyes.
And you should also not push so far, even with shaking your hand.
Yes.
And I got some additional techniques I'd love you to discuss with me about using timing. Just using timing.
Yes.
How can we use timing in our advantage while persuading our opponents? Actually, people are more likely to be agreeable and submissive where they're mentally fatigued. Before you ask, they're mentally tired, they're mentally exhausted. And before you ask someone for something they might not really agree to, consider waiting until they've just done something that's mentally taxing. This could be at the end of the work day when you catch a coworker on their way to the door, and as I think whatever you ask, a likely response will be, "I'll take care of it tomorrow." And that's kind of promise. Maybe, but it may not. He can say that, "I'll take care of it tomorrow," and to break his promise. And that's the way I see that timing can help us to persuade our opponent. Martin, do you have the opposite meaning of the timing?
I absolutely agree with you, Danny, but I think that we have 18 people here, so maybe we could try to involve more people into conversation.
Yes, but I don't know how to do this, actually. They're all feeling shy.
Try to use persuasion skills.
Yeah. Even with my persuasion power, as the issue said, I cannot even make the one.
Then you are too polite, and you need to use some kind of military style, right? Milan?
Milan, shut up when you're talking. As in the army, shun, attention. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Roger that.
Yeah, roger that. Copy that. Yeah. I cannot do this in these kind of familiar conversation because they feel shy, and if I use my military way of conversation and keeping a conversation, they will feel not shy but fear, right? And shocked. Yeah.
But it can wake up them also.
Martin, how to persuade our participants share their opinions?
Danny, I can see Adel can speak English very well. Milan can speak. I think that Mike could participate. Milan, would you like to share your opinion?
I already shared my opinion. Maybe Mike, he didn't speak.
No, I did. But could you repeat the question, Danny? What exactly do you want?
We're talking about timing. How can I help in persuasion? Just like, for example, when you ask your coworker, your colleague, in the end of the day when they are exhausted, they're tired, because people are more likely to be agreeable and submissive when they are mentally exhausted. In psychological matters, and whatever you ask in this situation where they are tired, they will respond that I'll take care of it tomorrow. Because when you're exhausted, you're intended to help other, as psychologists said. As they say, you're intended to help your colleagues, your friends, and in this situation, whatever you ask, a likely response will be, I'll take care of it tomorrow. And what you think?
I think it can be used in follow way. Ayesio, do you want to share your opinion now or after 2 minutes? Am I right, then? It is in such way?
Yes, exactly.
It's a kind of false judgment, you know.
Then I have a question. I don't know if it is related to timing, but let's say that you have some difficult negotiation and you came late on purpose. So you are showing not much interest. Is it related to timing? It's also very commonly used in negotiation. You are trying to make your opponent nervous, to lower his position, his status. You let him wait.
I think it's not related with timing, not related actually, but it's related with another persuasion technique. It will be not a persuasion, I think. It will be, as Martin says, manipulation, because are talking about when you put your opponent during the negotiation in very uncomfortable way. You put your opponent in very uncomfortable situation. You're talking about this, aren't you, Milan? Milan?
No, it was Martin. It was Martin, sorry.
Oh, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
You were asking this question. I'm sorry, I just confused you.
We have similar voice with Milan.
Yes, and you mean that? When you put your opponent in a very uncomfortable situation and
yes.
Just to escape this situation, he will be intended to agree with you just to finish this negotiation faster.
Yes, I think it's kind of, how to say, power game. It's like shaking the hands or invading personal zone. I think it's very similar to make your partner feel uncomfortable.
This way, I get some examples. For example, when you have a negotiation with a partner that you don't like, but you need his services and you need his agreement, you need his submissiveness, you can make him sit in a very uncomfortable chair or under the conditioner that is very cold. Yes. And feeling very uncomfortable, he will be intended to agree with you just to escape this damn room faster, actually.
Yes, it's commonly used.
Yes, it's very commonly used, but I think it's very dishonest and very bad way, mentally bad way, but it's very efficient, actually.
Yes, it's very aggressive technique.
Aggressive, yeah. And would you use it personally for you?
Never, only as a payback to show that I'm not going to play this way. So I'm not going to be intimidated.
Milan, and you? Would you use this technique about putting your opponent in a very uncomfortable way?
No.
Why so?
I don't like these techniques. And I think that they not always work for us.
For us means for who? For us.
For example, if I use that technique, it can be. And I don't know how these all techniques are they how they get them, you know.
And to sum up, yeah, Martin, please.
I just wanted to say my opinion that these techniques are very effective. It works. I mean, these aggressive techniques. But the problem is that if you want to have a long-term relation with your partner, you can
I
never.
just wanted to mention it. Yeah, thank you, Martin.
That's my point.
But actually, when we talk about reciprocation, it can be short-term reciprocation and long-term reciprocation. What you think? Can it be?
Yes.
When you're given a favor for your partner and he feels an obligation that he must give a favor for you, but just a little bit later, maybe. And during your long-term relationship with him, the favor will be back for you later. I think reciprocation is not an aggressive way to persuade your partner, isn't it?
But I think that this principle of reciprocity is easier word for me. It can be applied also in negative way, like about some kind of revenge, right? It's not only about doing a favor, it's also making someone feel uncomfortable, so you can expect some troubles in the future because your partner will try to pay back.
Yes, because the reciprocation and revenge, they mean the same but in opposite ways. Reciprocation is the positive meaning of this word, and revenge is negative one.
Yes.
Because when reciprocation takes place, when you are given a favor or a compliment or something else, you will give this favor and etc. back. And the revenge takes place when you get some uncomfortable situation from your opponent and you want to take revenge and give the same situation for your opponent. And while revenge is about the aggressive techniques, reciprocation, I think, they're not so aggressive. They can be very useful for long term.
Yes.
You know, Danny, I read an article about a guy that used this technique, reciprocation. Yes, to borrow money from other people. He just did a little favor for someone, and after that he tried to ask to borrow him money, and after that he just disappeared. And he did it a lot of time.
Without giving him this money back?
No. After a few months or years, they got him, but it was a real story about someone who used this in very bad way.
Danny, and in this case, it was persuasion or manipulation?
Reciprocal.
I think that it's manipulation. That's for me.
But it can be also motivation, because this person was teaching some lessons to these people, so maybe in the future they will be more careful.
Yes, but it can be motivation when the situation is used in a different way. But in the straight way that Mike told us, I think that it's manipulation.
Yes.
And at all times, borrowing money is very bad topic, because borrowing money is connected with losing friends, without breaking your relationship. This situation these situations take place very often, don't they?
Yes.
Have you come across such a situation? When you borrow money for your acquaintance or even a friend, and this money breaks your relationship.
Unfortunately, I don't have such experience, but I agree that sometimes it's difficult to refuse if some of your friends ask you for money. It can be difficult to decide.
It's not so difficult in comparison with the situation when you have already borrowed, have already lended your money to your friend, and the money he's borrowed, here he's not supposed to bring it back. And that is the difficult situation, because this situation can break a relationship, can't it?
Yes, of course.
Yes, that's why I consider that money lending is very tricky topic, very tricky situations. I don't like to lend. I don't like to lend money.
I like one Chinese quote about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for example, it's better to teach person to work something, to teach him some skill, than borrow him money. And it's totally true.
For example, instead of giving fish to your friend, just give him a spinning.
Yes, that's one. That one.
Danny, may I have a question? I know that you don't like personal questions, but this is not personal. My question is, how do you know all these techniques?
Actually,
sorry.
In those times, I was quite interested in these psychological matters, along with persuasion techniques, and I've just recalled them when preparing for today's conference today. I just found some articles, read them, and then compiled this the script for today's conference. Am I clear?
Yes.
I think I am. Okay, actually, let's sum up. Let's make the conclusion, because no one is sharing his opinion, and actually my script is quite over. Martin, do you have anything to say? Or we're making a conclusion?
We can make a conclusion, I guess, if nobody has something to say.
Any opinions left? Hazy, Milan?
No.
ABC, ASU?
What?
Okay, thank you, ASU. Let's make a conclusion. I think the first thing we should remember about persuading is to make your opponent interested. Am I right?
Yes.
Because you can never persuade somebody who's not interested in what you're saying. We're almost interested in ourselves and spend most of our time thinking about either money, love, or health. The first art of persuasion is learning how to consistently talk to people about them. If you do that, then you'll always have their captive attention. Am I right?
Yes.
Perhaps.
Who said perhaps?
I see.
Milan.
Okay, Stu, I will remember this. The second thing that we should remember about persuasion is creating good contact. Psychologists call it rapport. Have you heard this word?
Yes.
Rapport.
Yes.
Creating good contact or rapport. Because we like people who we are like. This extends beyond our conscious decisions to our unconscious or subconscious behaviors. And for example, by mirroring other habitual behaviors and it's connected with body language, you can build a sense of rapport where people feel more comfortable with you and become more open to your suggestions. Do you agree with me?
Yes, of course.
About creating good contact, yep. The third thing, the third essential, is communication clearly is the key. Anyway, I think that it's the key because when you speak properly, it creates good appearance for you, a good impression. If you can explain your concept or point of view with a proper speech, it's too complicated to persuade your opponent. The art of persuasion lies in simplifying something down to its core and communicating to others what they really care about.
But then this is quite interesting what you mentioned about fluid speech, because according to scientists, the most of the communication is transmitted by body language. Maybe it's over 70%.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that speaking is not important, but maybe it's overestimated. As I think it's maybe more about body language.
Body language is very, very important, but for example, imagine a Skype interview. How will body language help you?
Turn on my camera.
You're quite tricky guy. Huh? You're smart.
Conversation on the phone, I think it would be a better example.
Yes, anyway, just agree, Martin. I think that proper speech is anyway better than using interjections in the whole speech.
Of course.
Or even junk words that waste your speech. I think that proper communication, proper speech is about personal skills that should be developed. I can't say that they are the only essential thing about this. Of course not, but they can greatly help you to achieve your goal. Am I right? Yes.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing, the fourth thing about our conclusion is confidence.
Meu amigo.
Sorry?
When you talk about proper speech, what do you mean exactly? Could you, for example, do you talk about? No, I'm serious. For example, if you are, it depends on your audience, right? Either.
How your personal speech can depend on your audience.
No, I think it has something to do with the audience.
I can understand you, I see. Please clarify your position.
For example, if you are talking to educated people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to use the same kind of language if you are talking with simple people, for example, people who are not so polite.
You're talking about vocabulary.
Well,
it's not connected
I
with...
mean, I mean about convincing your audience. You're talking about persuasion, right?
When we were talking about persuasion with all the audience, you should use simple words that lay to the core of the essence of the point of your view. You should use simplified words. You should not use any scientific words or difficult words. You should use simple words, but you're talking about vocabulary, I assume.
No.
Different vocabulary between talking to scientists and with simple people. And I'm talking about proper speech. Proper speech is the speech without any unwelcome words like junk words or interjections like kind of, I mean, just like that. And when your speech doesn't have any of these junk words that waste your speech, the speech is called the proper one. Okay, and the fourth is confidence and certainty. because there is no quality as compelling, intoxicating, and attractive as certainty. It's the person who has an unbridled sense of certainty that will always be able to persuade others. If you really believe in what you do, you will always be able to persuade others to do what's right for them while getting what you want in return. Milan, am I right? Milan is giving silence. Martin,
Jenny, I
please.
have a question. You
Yeah.
mentioned self-confidence. What do you think? What level of self-confidence is appropriate? Because I can tell you that, of course, being self-confidence is very attractive and very important. Very important if you want to persuade someone. But for me, people who are overconfident are very annoying for me. I don't want to talk to them. They wouldn't sell me anything.
Yes, you're quite right, and I agree with you, because overconfident is a very bad quality, I think, as for me. But you should be confident, personally confident, because unconfident person cannot achieve any goal because he doesn't know exactly what to achieve. And a confident and certain person can achieve the goal because he can define them, and he can seem more sure to others, and it will be easier for him to persuade, to sales, to buy something, or to sell, maybe. I don't know. I think that confidence is a good quality, but our confidence is not. As for me,
What is the difference between confidence and overconfidence? What is the limit, the right level of confidence?
I think it's quite subtle and psychological matter. I cannot express my thoughts properly because I can say it, I can explain it. Maybe you can. I can explain what's the limit between confidence and overconfidence.
No, I don't know. That's the reason why I'm asking. I just can say when somebody is very annoying for me and irritating, I know that it's overconfident, but I cannot say the right definition. It's about
quite
the
tricky and subtle, yeah?
Yes, it's about feeling, I think.
And I think it's quite an individual matter.
Yes.
But I think, anyway, the person who is very unconfident cannot cause respect. Do you agree with me?
Excuse me?
Yeah. Please.
My name is Yusef, and I just joined this conversation.
Hello, Yusef.
Hi, how are you doing, sir? Are you Danny?
Yep. Nice to meet you here.
Great.
Actually,
nice
Yusef,
to meet you.
You're quite late this conversation because we have already made a conclusion.
Yeah, because I saw it started when it started. I was in the college. That's why. You know, I tried to use my phone, but you can use only laptops, you know, computers. And I just reached home.
Actually,
I had this morning a public speaking class. But you know, and one of the projects later is it's a persuasive speech.
No, don't you say?
Nice.
Great.
Because I already taught some, you know, learned some techniques about persuasion. We write. We wrote a lot of essays before. So where you can, you know, persuade people about a subject.
And could you sum up your own opinion about persuasion? Is it the same thing as the manipulation, and the whole opinion about this? Please share it with us. Your whole opinion about persuasion.
Okay, so Persuasion is, I think it's a hard work, you know. Not everybody can be persuasive.
Mm-hmm.
I
And why
mean,
so?
yeah, it's a lot of techniques, and you know, and it needs that you be fluent in the language, you know, you're talking with. I mean, the language you use.
Mm-hmm. And you consider that proper speech is very essential for the persuasion, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And what about
Because
body language then? Martin, for example, says that body language is 70%. Yes, Martin, am I right?
Yes.
What you were talking about, please repeat.
We were saying it's not Martin is saying, it's scientists are saying that most of the communication
Okay.
is transmitted by body language.
But actually, you've mentioned this.
Yes.
I was meaning
I
that.
think body languages, you know, help a little bit uh, to clarify the message,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that you send to the audience. It's a little bit it helps a little bit, but not too much, you know.
Mm-hmm. But actually,
It's
if
very
you...
important in the language. I mean, the words, and there are
Martin,
like many kinds of persuasive speeches. For example, if you want to sell something, a product, for example, you need like special skills. You have uh, to know the product, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
explain its advantages,
Mm-hmm.
so, and more things like that.
And do you agree with me that with the perfect body language and with very poor vocabulary and improper speech, you will not achieve the success? Do you agree with me?
Yeah, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
because it depends on the audience too.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned this morning. I learned an article how to choose a topic for speech,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, one of the keys, like I read, it, it's I mean, the people, the person who wanna make the speech has to know his audience too.
I was right.
Their level, what?
No, you can continue.
Oh, so so the person who make the speech has to know the level of education. I mean, of the
Yes,
audience.
but you're talking again about vocabulary you use with your audience.
No, it's not vocabulary.
And what is it? When I'm talking about proper speech, I have a definition without any interjections or the words that waste your language. In communicating with any audience, you should use proper speech. You should use good speech.
Yeah, but generally you're talking about persuasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it has something to do with persuasion, of course. I know a lot of people, for example, a lot of leaders who doesn't speak properly, do not have a good speech, and they can persuade a lot of people. It's not all about
you know what? Those leaders like make good speech because they know what they're talking about. Because if you know the subject and the audience need information, you're gonna be like persuasive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for example, if you talk to people who know the subject already, you're not gonna be they're not gonna be like interested to the subject because they know everything already, and some of them agree and others disagree.
Yes, I agree with you.
Danny, may I ask you something? We were talking about body language. So, what is your personal opinion? Is speaking skills are more important than body language? Because you mentioned one example, but I'm not sure if it is correct example. You said that, let's say that we have a guy who has very good body language but very poor speaking skills. But usually body language and speaking skills are connected.
Yes.
Right? It's all about self-confidence. Usually people who have very good body language They have also very good speaking.
Yes. I think, Martin, actually, after sharing my opinion upon this, I've caught myself on this thought about body language and straight speech. They're absolutely connected, but I just gave you this example to mention that not only the body language is essential, but they both are very important for the persuasion.
I think the essential, when you want to persuade someone, the self-confidence is the key, and you can show a lot of self-confidence even without saying a word, just by your body language, just by your body posture.
But actually,
on the other hand, you can be a good speaker, but if you have poor body language, you will not persuade anybody, right? Because it will be in contrary what you deliver by your words and what you deliver by your body language.
And that's why I think that when we're talking about persuasion and self-confidence, we should use them in balance. We should use them in balance, 50-50, just like that. But language is not more important than the straight speech, and the straight speech, in its turn, is not more important than the body language. You should balance. As for me, I'm very balanced.
Use everything often. Sometimes you use the words. So when you see like people like the audience becoming bored, so you can move from your place. I mean, use your body language. You can say a joke sometimes to make people like the track. You know what I mean? Because if the speaker is boring, you're gonna make the audience bored. They will wait for the hour. I mean, for the time when the speech is gonna finish. And the example, like for a good speaker, is like, you know, do you agree that Barack Obama like is a good speaker?
I think
I think so.
I think that maybe he's a good speaker, but he's a bad dealer.
You know what I mean? I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about, you know.
Yes, about speaking.
The way he make the speech, you know.
Good speaker, but weak leader.
Okay, don't talk about the leader. You know, we talk about the English. I mean,
I've just said this. I've just said this to clarify my position. To clarify my position about Barack Obama. Actually, he's a good public speaker. I'm a screw.
Yeah, because you know, I prefer him than George Bush, because when I listen, because I'm not a native you know, English speaker.
Native speaker.
When I listen to him, I can understand what he's saying, you know, better than others. Because like clarification is good too, because when you make a speech, you have to be use like easy words and simple words.
Simple words, and use the good articulation.
To make sure that everybody among the audience understand and will like get the message.
And you consider that simple words and good articulation, lead to.
What do you mean by articulation?
Articulation is pronouncing all the sounds properly.
Oh, okay. So it means like clarification. You need to pronounce every single word as it should be. So
yes, not saying just properly, but saying properly, just like that. What's about it?
Yeah, I agree. Because the more speaker use clear words, the more he gonna affect and attract the attention of the audience.
What about the body language?
Yeah, the body language.
We're talking about persuasion techniques, but body language also is important in this topic, I think. It's not only the things that we are saying important. While we're using our body, while we're saying something, our body also gives hints about this kind of while transmitting a message, I think.
Yes, you're very, very right. You're absolutely right.
Who's talking, by the way?
I'm Yasmin.
Oh, Yasmin. Nice to meet you here.
I'm glad to meet you.
I'm Danny. I'm glad to. Actually, the body language, we have distinct it as an isolated technique, actually, because the body language, as I considered while preparing these configuration materials, body language is a part of any technique because it helps in transmitting message better. And I agree with you, Yasmin. Because body language and the straight speech, they are both very important in persuasion. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I have got, I'm a teacher. I'm working as an English teacher in a school. And my body language, most of the time, help my students to understand everything easily. And I can just direct them in the way that I wish, just by using my body, just by just making mimics, but by hand movements. I'm just taking their attention, and I'm just directing them to the way I wish them to be. It's just, I think, it's the secret nobody wants to talk about most of the time.
No, not actually. It's not a secret because everybody wants to learn something new. He needs to collect all the tools and use all the tools to learn that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but most of the time when we're talking about, persuasion techniques, when we're talking about transmitting ideas to the people, we never mention these body language topic. We just mention it for the last thing to mention. It's not the first, but it should be the first thing to mention because it's just underlining the message that you are giving by, you're hiding the message you are giving by these kind of movements, but by this kind while you're saying good thing, and you can just mess it up if you're not having a good body language. Like, for example, you can say to one person that I love you very, very much, but your body language, if doesn't speak, then that person will understand definitely that you don't love that particular person.
So you have to prove the words by actions.
Yeah, exactly. Words can be forgotten, but actions never forgotten easily.
Exactly, because I think we all learn communication in different languages in our countries, maybe
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I learned about posters, and when I was studying French, so we took a whole year. We talk about communication in general and all the tools that help to make you a good speaker. Because sometimes a speaker could be like a recruiter. I mean, somebody who need to find the work, a candidate. It can be anybody.
I personally think that the people in the Middle Eastern who are living in the geography, they are much more not preferring to use body language, while the European people just using it a lot.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. But I agree with you, fully agree with you, Yasmin. And I was standing for the object that not only the body language can lead you to success in persuasion or in general communication.
Agree.
Because I think that your body language must be clarified, and along with your speech must be proper.
Yeah.
And clarified too, because no one public speaker with improper speech can achieve success. Because imagine the public speaker, for example, Imagine the United States president, then will say, United States Treasury Department discovered that economical prosperity of the United States will be held until 2017. Because there's no interest in his speech. And that's why. And the second president will say, United States Treasury Department discovered that economical prosperity, you see the accents of the words, and they cause interest in audience. And along with body language, that must be also proper in the president of the United States. It creates the good public speaker. Actually, Barack Obama is a good public speaker. He's a bad dealer, actually, but public speaking, he's very nice. And a silence kept.
It's just I was thinking that the
the conclusion is
theory. According to this theory, the minority in a group can have, this proportionate effect on influencing those in the majority. Like, if there is a minority in the people who are just completely different than the others, then they can affect their ideas much more easily. Like Obama, he's different than the rest of the American citizen. I believe so. And so they are just seeing something different than usual. And they're just stopping and thinking that, wow, this guy's different than us. Most of the time, he's just presenting the ideas completely different than ours. So it is just a technique too. I mean, he's using this conversion theory in a very good way. He's just, he's just making the differences advantages for himself.
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Problem connection.
Yasmin, by the way, where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
Oh,
it's just a little far away, right?
Yasmin, do you know Turkish?
Yeah, I do. I know Turkish.
Ben de biliyorum.
Gerçekten. Wow, it's amazing.
Mike, actually, have you stopped recording? Because we have already made a conclusion.
Okay, Danny, thanks for this discussion.
Yeah, thank you too.